K-pop Demon Hunters, the Junior Novelization. Prologue. HUNTR, HUNTR, HUNTR! An enormous stadium full of excited fans chanted the name of their favorite music group. They waved their HUNTR light sticks, jumping and screaming as images of the 3 HUNTR girls appeared on the jumbo screen. These girls were world famous for being pop stars, but they were really so much more. Centuries ago, ancient Korea was haunted by demons. These horned and fanged creatures crawled through glowing cracks that spread over the earth. They terrorized the villagers, stealing their souls for the demon king, Guima. A fiery monster that consumed souls strengthened his blazing pink flames. During one attack, a powerful voice cut through the darkness. The evil beasts looked up to see 3 women standing proudly atop a tiled hanok roof. With colorful hanbok silks billowing around them, the warriors jumped down to defend the villagers. They sang with beautiful voices and wielded ornate weapons. They defeated the demons with ease. These women were the first hunters. Their music not only protected the people, but united them as well. Their songs inspired courage and hope, creating the Hanmoon, a shimmering shield that expanded until it covered all the surrounding land. Though the demons pushed against it, the Hanmoon kept them from re-entering the human world. Every generation, a new trio of hunters emerged with the same mission: to strengthen the Hanmoon with their music and protect the people from Guima and his demon army. In the forests of Jejundo, HUNTR, the newest trio of hunters, faced their mentor, Celine. Behind her stood an enormous tree from which different colored fabric hung in long ribbons. With wavy black hair flecked with silver strands set over one shoulder, Celine addressed her protégés. And now that duty falls to you. That victory is within your reach. The 3 girls grasped each other's hands, confident and ready for their mission. HUNTR had a chance to create the Golden Hanmoon, a barrier so powerful it would seal off the demons from humankind for good. What could go wrong? Chapter 1. Cheering fans decked out in HUNTR gear filled into the stadium. Their light sticks created a glow of anticipation for the final show of the world tour. While waiting for the beloved K-pop stars to arrive, the crowd gushed about their favorite members of the group. Some fans favored the hot pink-haired Mira. She was HUNTR's visual and their lead dancer. Though Mira was the black sheep of her family, fans loved her cool demeanor and unique fashion sense. She had even walked the Met Gala red carpet wearing a black sleeping bag. Other fans loved Zoey most. She was the adorable Monet who wore her black hair in 2 low buns. Growing up in Burbank, California, Zoey was constantly writing lyrics in her notebooks. Though she had a cute and bubbly personality, Zoey's fierce lyrics and impressive rapping skills could take down a demon twice her size. Finally, there were tons of Rumi fans. Rumi was the leader of HUNTR, who sported a signature purple braid. She possessed an incredible voice that had the power to bring grown men to tears. Orphaned as an infant, Rumi was the daughter of a hunter from the previous generation's K-pop group, the Sunlight Sisters. Rumi was raised by Celine, her mother's friend, fellow Sunlight sister, and now HUNTR's mentor. As the stadium lights dimmed, the fans went wild. Everyone, including HUNTR's manager Bobby, couldn't wait for the concert to begin. "But where are the girls?" Bobby asked. He checked a map on his phone and saw that their plane was flying past the stadium. Mira, Zoey, and Rumi were on a private plane. Like their fans, they were amped for what would be their biggest concert yet and gushed about what was to come. "The most songs," said Zoey. "The most moves," added Mira. "Which means the most carb loading," declared Rumi. "For the fans!" they cheered together. A giant spread of snacks stretched before them. kimbap rolls, mounds of shrimp crackers, piles of oodang, and more, and the girls tore through all of it. Of course, they couldn't forget about their pre-show ramyeon. They raised their cup of noodles, which featured their names and photos on them, and made a toast. Happy fans! Happy Han Moon! But something was wrong. Wait, there's no water in these, asked Zoey. Rumi called to the flight attendant who was watering a plant with coffee. This made Rumi scrunch her eyebrows in confusion, but before she could get an answer, Bobby called. His worried face appeared on screen for a second before fans took over the conversation. The girls didn't mind, though. They adored their fans, gushing and crying along with them. Mira admired a fan's new tattoo of the HUNTR logo, though Rumi and Zoey weren't so sure about it. When Bobby finally regained control of his phone, he told them they were late for the show. Late? They asked in surprise. The girls turned, peering at the people operating the plane through narrowed eyes. Keep your shirt on, Bobby, Rumi said. We'll be there in 3. Mira groaned. Ah! I didn't even get to finish my ramyeon! Rumi punched the bridge of her nose, majorly annoyed. Why do they always interrupt our snacking? With her mouth full of shrimp crackers, Zoey yelled, They will feel my wrath, and crushed more crackers in her fist. Exasperated, Rumi pulled herself to her feet to confront the attendant who was still watering the plant with coffee. You're a demon, right? Proving her point, another attendant clacked seat belts uselessly together, and the pilot stabbed at random buttons with his pointer fingers. Rumi grabbed the coffee attendant's arm and found it was covered in jagged purple patterns. She knew it. None of these workers were people. They were all demons. Exposed for what they really were, the monsters revealed their true forms, complete with horns, fangs, and claws. The pilot emerged from the cockpit. He was the largest monster of them all. Aw, you got the patterns, Mira cooed, unimpressed. She cocked her head to the side. Now you gotta die. The pilot demons sneered at them. The only ones dying tonight are your... Burp. Mira covered her mouth with her hand. Thrown off, the pilot tried to regain his menacing tone. I said the only ones dying tonight are your... Gurgle. Now Rumi's and Zoey's stomachs groaned. The demon's threats were no match for the girls' indigestion. Frustrated by the interruptions, he blurted out, Your fans! We're gonna eat your fans! The girls protested at once. Whoa, no, thank you. They were not going to let their fans be threatened. When you mess with our fans, started Zoey. We need to make it hurt, finished Mira. The Han moon rippled mightily above them as HUNTR began to sing, How It's Done. The demons squirmed in fear. The girls strutted toward the evil beast, grinning at what they knew would be guaranteed victory. While Mira pummeled one fanged creature, Zoey flipped another to the ground. Rumi focused on something even more important, their ramyeon. She casually filled a hot water dispenser, then fought off a few demons one-handed. She tossed the dispenser to Mira. Mira passed the dispenser to Zoey, but not before she used it to punch a demon into a chair. Smiling, Zoey filled her ramyeon cup with hot water. Then she poured more into the cups that Mira and Rumi held out to her while they easily fought one-handed. Mira and Zoey stopped to enjoy their noodles, but Rumi grabbed the treats away, wagging her finger. She pointed at the cooking instructions written on the side. Ready in 3 minutes. They would need to defeat, then eat. Ready to finish the monsters off, the hunters conjured weapons out of thin air. Rumi wielded a sengom with a large glittering blade, while Mira brandished the curved gokdo sword on an ornate golden staff. Zoey summoned iridescent shinkao, the blades artfully arranged into fan shapes. The demons were no match for these skilled warriors. The girls sliced and diced. They were nearing victory when suddenly the plane jolted, knocking them and their ramyeon off balance. With diving catches, they saved the ramyeon from spilling. But what had caused the turbulence? The girls peered out the window. The flight attendant had ripped the cockpit from the body of the plane and was escaping in it. 2 other demons grabbed onto a wing as it tore away. Yeah, this plane's trashed, said Mira matter-of-factly. Unbothered, the girls slurped up their ramyun, drank down the broth, and sighed. Their noodle craving was finally satisfied. One by one, they abandoned the destroyed plane. Rumi led the charge, saluting as she launched herself headfirst out the emergency exit. Zoey and Mira followed. As they fell toward the stadium, they battled the demons and freshened their makeup. From the stage below, a spotlight illuminated the sky. The audience watched the girls hurtling toward them like shooting stars. "It's them!" they cried. HUNTR crashed into the stage at full speed, sending a cloud of smoke through the arena. As the smoke cleared, the fallen demons were exposed by stage lights. The crowd gasped at their hideous faces. More lights revealed the silhouettes of HUNTR standing impressively behind the beasts. The fans went crazy as the girls jumped through the smoke and slayed each monster. One of the demons landed beside a fan who cried, "Whoa, cool costume!" Zoey threw a blade at the evil creature, who exploded into a shower of pink glitter. The fans couldn't get enough. With the demons vanquished, the girls came together to finish their song. Rumi hit the high note and the crowd roared. The fans' souls glowed bright blue in their chests, and the moon pulsed throughout the stadium with increasing power. As the song ended, the girls saw a golden glimmer as the barrier spread outward, covering the city beyond. HUNTR was so close to sealing the moon for good, but for now the hunters had fulfilled their duty, keeping the demons at bay with unmatched style. Chapter 2. In the demon realm, the flight attendant demon walked unsteadily across a barren wasteland. Her shoes clacked against the rocky ground. The surrounding creatures silently watched her approach Guima's crumbling palace. As she neared the stairs, the patterns on her body glowed. She collapsed in a heap before the fiery Guima. Guima's floating mouth spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. "Let me guess," he said to the demon. "They got away again." The hunters, they're too strong," she replied in a shaky voice. "I understand," said Guima, his voice calm. Thrown at the unexpected compassion, the demon looked up and asked tentatively, You do?" "I understand," repeated Guima. His voice swelled into a terrible roar. "You are weak!" A swirl of pink fire launched at the terrified demon and engulfed her. Painful screams filled the air as Guima absorbed her soul. "Pathetic! Useless! All of you!" Guima roared. "Don't you idiots know? Once the hunters turn the moon gold, it's over for us." The crowd shrank back in fear, and one monster sobbed into his hands. Suddenly, the strummed note of a hagam rang out, and everyone turned toward its source. A young man stood atop a tower, playing a melancholy melody with his claws. He was a demon named Jinu, but unlike the other demons, he appeared almost human. Jinu floated down to the others, singing the story of a once powerful demon king. The brim of a black gat covered his face as he parted the crowd and approached Guima. A massive blue tiger with glowing orange eyes followed him. While he walked, Jinu continued his song, asking if the Demon King's fire would go out, now that the hunters kept him from feeding on souls. The crowd looked on, worried he was only making things worse. Guima's stilly calm returned. "I'll let you keep that voice, Jinu, and you dare to mock me with it?" "I'm not here to mock you," he replied smoothly. "I'm here to help you." As Jinu floated up the stairs, 4 other demons assembled behind him. Like Jinu, they wore tattered black hanbok with red norgay tied at their waists. "It's time for a new strategy," continued Jinu. "We fight the hunters where they least expect it." Now, at the top of the staircase, he looked up, revealing his handsome face. "Go after the very thing that powers the moon, the fans." Jinu and his entourage struck a pose in a classic boy band formation. "A demon boy band?" Guima cackled in disbelief, and some of the crowd chuckled with him. "What makes you think that could work?" Jinu grinned and snapped his fingers. Immediately, fangs and horns disappeared from his entourage's faces. Their grotesque features were replaced by great hair, sparkling eyes, and sculpted jawlines. The crowd below marveled at the transformation, their minds completely changed. "Oh yeah," one muttered in approval. "That's totally gonna work." 100%, said another. Guima, though intrigued, remained skeptical. "Okay, I know you, Jinu. In 400 years, you've never done a single thing that didn't serve yourself." As the Demon King spoke, the smile on Jinu's face faded. His eyes widened as his mind was consumed by a disturbing image. A woman and a young girl cried and reached for him. Jinu closed his eyes and shook the memory out of his head. "What do you want?" asked Guima. "The memories," Jinu said. "I want them erased." Chapter 3. Back in the human world, the concert was over and the fans exited the stadium. Huntrix rode the elevator to a level below the stage, talking excitedly about the Han Moon. "Did we just see gold?" asked Rumi excitedly. "Yeah, I can't believe we're doing it," exclaimed Mira. Jumping up and down, Zoey squealed, "Ah, this is so exciting!" Okay, said the Huntrix leader, taking a serious tone. "You know what this means. It's time to release the song." All three girls screeched with delight when suddenly Rumi coughed. Her friends looked at her with worry. "Whoa, that was weird," Rumi said. "Good thing we're taking a break," said Zoey. "Yeah," Mira agreed. "Sounds like you need the rest." Rumi brushed off their concern. "Just need a little water." The elevator doors opened, revealing Bobby wearing a Huntrix t-shirt beneath a gray blazer. A VIP lanyard hung from his neck. Behind him, tons of devoted stagehands held kimbap robes and a humidifier, and everything else the girls might need. "Did someone say water?" asked Bobby, smiling. "Water, now!" he barked at the crew. Bottles of water appeared instantly. As the girls walked down the hallway with their manager, the crew slid robes on them, handed them snacks, and touched up their makeup. "What a way to end the world tour!" gushed Bobby, walking backwards so he could face his girls. "And the finale with that guy in the demon suit exploding into confetti?" "So chill," raved their crew members. "Those special effects looked amazing." Mira smirked. Yeah, special effects. "This is gonna break the bank, but..." Bobby checked his phone and saw that Huntrix was #1 on the charts by a landslide. "Ooh, look at these social numbers. They're off the charts." Beaming at the girls, he continued, "And to celebrate, I booked you a week-long staycation at the fanciest, most exclusive relaxation resort in Korea." "Sorry, Bobby," said Mira. "We already have plans." "What? What plans?" Bobby asked, surprised. "We got the hottest ticket in town," said Zoey smugly before revealing their humble destination. "Couch, couch, couch, couch!" She and Mira chanted excitedly and skipped along. Rumi put an arm around their manager's shoulders. "Bobby, you should go enjoy the resort. This tour's been grueling for everyone. You deserve it." Bobby feigned bashfulness. "Me? Oh, no, I couldn't possibly." But he quickly changed course. "Just kidding. Robe me. I'm a 34 short, please." Stagehands popped up behind him, fitting him with a fluffy white robe and pink eye mask. "See you in a couple of weeks, girls," Bobby called. He flashed a peace sign and headed off in the other direction. "Bye, Bobby," they called back. Zoey and Mira kept walking. Behind them, Rumi smirked and tapped her fingers together, scheming. Yes, vacation. The girls entered their penthouse. Mira and Zoey were already in relaxation mode, their hair washed and wrapped up in towels. Zoe's towel was folded with buns on either side of her head to look like sheep's horns. It was time for some well-earned rest. I can't wait to eat kimbap and stare at the ceiling," said Mira dreamily. "I already picked out a movie for us," Zoey informed her. "It's actually a list of 700 2-second videos I want you to watch, all about turtles." Mira couldn't wait. "Sounds super boring. I'm so down." Behind them, Rumi tapped away on her phone, not paying attention to what her friends were saying. Her screen showed a photo of the three of them with the words, "New single, golden." "Let's do this," Rumi said to herself and pressed the launch button. She walked alone into the Huntrix closet, an enormous costume hall with clothes on display floor to ceiling. She stopped before a set of 3 new costumes. Spotlights turned on automatically, revealing white and black cropped jackets and tops with matching bottoms, all accented in gold. Rumi smiled. It's time. Meanwhile, Mira and Zoey were still in their cozy robes, heading to the couch with a mountain of delicious snacks, including strawberry tops bingsu and more kimbap. Couch, 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 they chanted. They sank into its luxurious cushions with satisfied sighs. But Rumi had other plans. She emerged from behind the couch, revealing just her head. Hey, Rumi greeted her friends sweetly. Have a good break? Mira side-eyed her. What? No, we literally just sat down. A huge grin was plastered on Rumi's face. She stood up slowly, displaying her full attire, which sparkled with golden decorations. Zoey and Mira stared at her in horror. Why are you in your new costume? Asked Zoey. Rumi, you didn't, they said incredulously, realizing that Rumi must have released their new single. Rumi held out their costumes to them, still grinning maniacally. No! They protested. I love my pajamas. No, Rumi, no! Tears sprang from Mira's and Zoey's eyes and poured down their cheeks. Promo would begin that very night. Just then, the elevator doors whooshed open and Bobby stepped out, still in his robe and eye mask. Girls, you won't believe this, he said excitedly, scrolling through his phone. Though all 3 of them were now dressed and ready, only Rumi shared Bobby's enthusiasm. She stood tall with her hands on her hips while Mira and Zoey slumped over, defeated. Bobby, cried Mira in an exhausted voice. No more relaxy time, whined Zoey. Bobby held up his phone to them. Your new single is on fire. Everyone's listening to it. At these words, the mood in the room transformed. All 3 girls cheered and pumped their fists into the air. So let's go promo! Shouted Bobby, throwing off his robe and mask, revealing a sparkly suit underneath. Around the globe, fans were raving over the announcement of the new Huntrix song. Their anticipation surged as the teaser was released and photos from the music video spread online. Golden was on billboards, bus stops, subways, everywhere. A group of excited fans huddled around a phone, ready for the music video premiere. They counted down for it to begin. 3, 2, 1. The music video opened with Rumi running through the Jeju-do forest, lost and alone. Then she sat atop a carved wooden throne, her head turned away and her eyes downcast. Suddenly she looked up. A golden sparkle flashed in her eye, and she stood proudly. Zoey appeared on screen next. She stood on Seoul Street surrounded by signs written in Hangul, then in Burbank, with palm trees overhead. Faceless hands pulled her by the wrists in a tug-of-war to get her to pick just one place. But Zoey fought them off in a gleam of brilliant gold and skateboarded away, smiling. Then it was Mira, sitting in front of her family's unsmiling portrait. Though her parents watched her disapprovingly, Mira performed a golden dance pose. Suddenly she was standing atop a gleaming gold plane, her long hair fluttering behind her as she soared through the sky. Each of the girls were drawn in by a swath of gold light and followed it, triumphing against their personal struggles. And now the girls drove off together in a convertible down a gleaming street. They were united, they belonged, and they were valued for exactly who they were. The watching fans were overwhelmed with joy, and some cried happy tears as they sang along, letting the empowering lyrics of Golden wash over them. They rewatched the music video again and again. They left comments praising the song and telling Huntrix how much they loved it. On a talk show, Huntrix sat side by side to promote the new song. So tell us about your latest single, Golden, prompted the interviewer. It's the story of us, Mira said. It's a song about who we are and where we're going next, Rumi added. And the first live performance is tonight, revealed Zoey excitedly. The screen behind them lit up in gold as the audience jumped up and down, waving their signs and light sticks. The Han moon shimmered a soulful blue, its power growing ever stronger with the fans' excitement and support. That night, a cheering crowd waited outside the concert hall to be let in for the live performance. Bobby was in his element, directing the stagehands and making sure the set was ready for his girls. In their shared dressing room, Mira and Zoey took selfies together in their new costumes. But Rumi wasn't ready yet. She stood alone in her solo dressing room, nervously clutching the collar of the robe she was still wearing. She stared at herself in the mirror, singing the Bridge of Golden. She wanted to do the things she sang about, to stop hiding who she really was and finally reveal her true self. She let her robe drop from her shoulders, exposing her arms. Arms that were covered in patterns. Rumi pulled on her sparkly jacket and took a deep, steadying breath as she zipped up her turtleneck and hid her purple patterns from view. She reminded herself who she was, a hunter. She believed in her mission, and she knew she was going to sail the Han Moon forever. Gazing at herself in the mirror, Rumi gave herself a small, determined smile. Chapter 4. Inside the concert hall, rehearsal for Huntrix's live performance was going great. The music sounded amazing, the girls' choreography was perfectly synchronized. Bobby danced along happily, accidentally swatting a camera operator in the face. "Sorry," he whispered. But on the high note, the unthinkable happened. Rumi's normally impeccable voice cracked. Mira put a hand on her shoulder. "You okay?" Rumi cleared her throat. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's take it again from the top." The girls launched right back into rehearsing, nailing the chorus as always. But when the spotlight returned to Rumi, her voice cracked again. "Rumi, are you okay?" asked Bobby, now very concerned. "Do you need some water?" Panicking, Rumi froze. "I just need 5, she said. I'm going to take 5. Then she jogged off the stage. 5 minutes? Asked an incredulous producer. "We go live in 10. Bobby spoke to himself in an unconvincing tone of reassurance. "Okay, I can handle this. I'm not having a nervous breakdown. Visualize. There's not 10,000 fans at the door screaming and sounding really scary." But outside the venue, that was exactly what was happening. "Mayday, mayday," a security guard yelled in his earpiece. "There's 10,000 fans at the door screaming and sounding really scary." Meanwhile, Rumi rushed inside her dressing room and slammed the door, panting. With wide eyes, she looked into the mirror and slowly unzipped her turtleneck. Underneath, her demon patterns had spread with one creeping its jagged edge up her throat. She gasped, gripping the sides of her vanity to steady herself. "My voice? No, no!" she cried. She retreated through a side door, unnoticed by the throng of eager fans waiting out front. Sprinting from the venue, Rumi recalled a memory from when she was a little girl. A young Rumi sat on the ground singing the haunting tune of the hunter's mantra. The words told how hunters could destroy demons with song and bring light and hope to the world. Behind her was Celine, who braided Rumi's long purple hair. A simple stone slab before them read, "Young Rumi's grave." It was the gravestone of Rumi's mother. "Celine, do hunters kill all demons?" young Rumi asked in a worried voice. "Yes," replied Celine solemnly. "So everything that has patterns?" Rumi pulled up her sleeve to reveal 2 small purple markings. Celine pulled down her sleeve roughly. "Cover those up. You only have those because my dad was a demon?" Rumi suggested. Celine put a reassuring hand on Rumi's shoulder. "You're not one of them, Rumi. You're a hunter, just like your mother was." They both looked toward the gravestone with its offerings of apples, incense, and a large white chrysanthemum bloom. "When the Han Moon is sealed," Celine continued, "all the demons will be gone from this world, and so will your patterns." Rumi looked up hopefully. "So these will be gone?" "Yes," said Celine. "Those will be gone." Another memory appeared. Teenage Rumi hid inside her room while her friends called to her through the closet door. "You always say no, Rumi," whined Zoey. "You're so modest. It's just the bathhouse," said Mira in a disappointed tone. Rumi pulled her sleeve over her patterned arm and called back to them. Maybe some other time. You guys go ahead. Mira and Zoey grumbled as they left, leaving Rumi alone with Celine. Maybe they'll understand, teenage Rumi said hopefully. She wanted to share the truth with her best friend so badly. But Celine shut her down immediately. No, Rumi, nothing can change until your patterns are gone. Alone on a rooftop, present day, Rumi unzipped the neck of her shirt and threw down her jacket, revealing the patterns spreading all over her arms and neck. She began belting the chorus of Golden, determined to nail the solo where her voice had cracked. But her voice broke again and she choked back sobs. She fell to her knees and cried, How am I supposed to fix the world? Fix me? When I don't have my voice? Why now? When I'm so close? Why? Her beautiful voice transformed into a demon's roar. Why? She slammed her fists onto the rooftop. Pink patterns rippled out from the impact and rolled across the rest of Seoul. Rumi's eyes widened with terror at the monster she was becoming. Chapter 5. When Rumi came back downstairs, Mira and Zoey were waiting for her. The two girls rushed over and each put a hand on Rumi's shoulders. Together, the three of them sat around a table in their pajamas, steaming Dolsat stone bowls of Solongtang in front of them. Rumi dragged her spoon through the beef broth and pushed around the scallion slices. She didn't take a single bite. I'm sorry about the show. Rumi, it's okay, Zoey said immediately. I'm sure everything will be fine. Bobby can handle it. The corners of Rumi's lips began to lift, but then Zoey's phone rang. Girls, I can't handle this, said Bobby in a frazzled voice. There's thousands of disappointed fans, and the network is losing their minds. Rumi sighed, more disappointed in herself than ever. Bobby collected himself and said more calmly, Okay, this is why you pay me 3%. He yelled at someone at the concert hall. Okay, back off! My girls will sing when they're ready. Mira poked the end button with her finger, hanging up the call. Rumi didn't need to hear Bobby freaking out when she already felt so bad. It's okay, Mira told her. We can reschedule another live show within days. Rumi decided to be honest, at least partly. I don't know if it's going to be possible. Mira and Zoey exchanged nervous glances. My voice, continued Rumi, it's in trouble. Mira was shocked. Wait, in trouble? Then why did you push up the Golden release? She demanded. Because we're so close, explained Rumi, and it's so important. Zoey launched into problem-solving mode. Okay, how do we handle this? What do we tell the fans? Maybe we should call Celine. Mira scoffed. We know what she'd say, Zoey. Zoey giggled. Oh, right. She and Mira did a Celine impression, their voices solemn and stoic. Your faults and fears must never be seen. They laughed, Zoey elbowing Mira jovially. Whoa, you sound exactly like her, said Mira. But as much as she liked to mock their mentor, Mira did take Celine's advice to heart. No, but that's what we gotta do, hide it. We gotta hide it and fix it. Yeah, no, for sure. We have to hide it. Zoey agreed. Sensing Rumi's despair, Zoey made a proposal. Rumi, she said gently, why don't we take a break? We'll skip the awards this year. But Rumi didn't want to hear it. No way, she insisted, her eyes darting between her friends. It's our most important show. It's when we strengthen the Han Moon for the entire year. We can't skip it. We just can't. Her gaze dropped to the table. Not when I'm so close. Mira and Zoey exchanged looks again, their concern growing. Hey, Zoey said. She reached across the table and again put a hand on Rumi's shoulder. We'll get through this. We can get through anything together. Hearing this, Rumi finally smiled. Okay, Mira said. We have 2 weeks to fix Rumi's voice. Any ideas? Zoey had 57 ideas, but suggested they start with her favorite one. Don't worry, she said confidently. It's totally legit. Chapter 6. The next day, Zoey led Huntrix's quest to fix Rumi's voice. The girls marched down the street wearing hats and hoods, and Mira and Rumi ducked their heads so fans couldn't identify them. Zoey looked down at her phone and chattered on about where they were headed. He's got this special tonic. Apparently it can heal anything from sore throats to relationship problems. Rumi shushed her, not wanting to draw attention to themselves. As they walked, Mira noticed a crowd gathering nearby. Why are there so many people today? Zoey pointed down a narrow road. Oh, it's down that alleyway. As the girls turned off the main street, people continued to cluster together. In their hands were flyers emblazoned with Saja Boys and a pink lion logo. Free concert today, someone said. Who were the Saja Boys? Asked another. The girls finally arrived in front of a slightly run-down HUNTR. The traditional Korean house was nestled between tall commercial buildings and had a poster hanging on its glass door that said, Seen Online. The girls stared at the poster. On it was a bespectacled man holding up what was presumably a healing tonic, though it resembled a juice pouch. Yep, about as legit as I expected, said Mira sarcastically. Rumi took a big sniff and shrugged. Earthy and herby. Smells legit to me. Buoyed by Rumi's positive response, Zoey clapped and cheered. Yay! That's the spirit. Gaja! 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 She threw her arms around Rumi, then pulled her inside, with Mira following closely behind them. Inside the clinic, official-looking certificates and plaques lined a wooden cabinet at the back of the room. Rumi squinted at a wall covered with signed photos of the healer with various celebrity clients. Zoey, convinced that her plan was going to work, gave Rumi an excited thumbs up. Rumi responded with an unconvincing smile. The glass door swung open. Healer Han, the man they had seen on the poster outside, walked in wearing a white lab coat. Ruminim, he called. The girls rose from their seats and bowed to greet him, but Han waved them down. Sit, sit, you need no introduction. He turned again to Rumi. So, a problem with your voice. Zoey clasped her hands together eagerly. Yes, so we need one of your awesome tonics, something that will work super fast. Healer Han pushed his glasses down his nose to peer at Rumi. Okay, let me see. Rumi opened her mouth wide, but Han put up his hand to stop her. He tutted. In order to heal a part, we must understand the whole. He gestured to the entirety of Rumi before breathing deeply and closing his eyes. When he reopened them, his gaze was so intense, it was as if he had X-ray vision. His voice rumbled as he approached, his eyes bulging. Shocked, Rumi leaned back, but Healer Han plowed on with great intensity. I see. He paused, puzzled. No, actually, I don't see. Very strange. You have lots of walls up. At this uncanny assessment, Zoey shook Mira's arm. Whoa, he's so good, right? But Mira remained skeptical and didn't even look up from the magazine she was reading. So many walls, mused Healer Han. Rumi's voice went up an octave, afraid he could detect her secret. Walls? I don't have any walls. Mira was not going to let this slide. She lowered her magazine. Yeah, you do. Turning to Zoey, she conceded. He is kind of good. I'm just trying to stay focused, Rumi protested. Focus is good, agreed Han, but focusing on one part leads to ignoring other parts, making you separated, isolated. Zoe's hand shot up like an eager student who wanted to answer the teacher's question correctly. Ooh, emotionally closed off, she suggested. Yes, shouted Han in approval. Mira took a turn to pile on. She's also a workaholic, doesn't know how to relax. I know how to relax, Rumi cut in. I bet she refuses to go to the bathhouse with you, said Han. At this, everyone in the room erupted with laughter, except for Rumi, who remained stone-faced. How is this helpful? She demanded. Mira was thoroughly enjoying herself now. It's helping me a lot. Zoey marveled enthusiastically until Healer Han turned his bulging X-ray eyes at her. Wait, why are you looking at me? Asked Zoey, unprepared to be under the microscope. Healer Han began his assessment. Eagerness to please. Maybe a little too eager. Zoey laughed nervously. What? Ha! I'm not like that. She waved her hand like it was all a big joke, but her tone became agitated. You guys would tell me if I was really like that, right? Before anyone could answer, Healer Han was already moving on to Mira. He rumbled enthusiastically. I see. Han and Mira stared each other down with narrowed eyes. Mira let out a grunt, which Han returned. Neither of them backed down from the grunt off until finally Mira growled. Han let out a scared whimper. Yeah, that's right, said Mira smugly. Annoyed with these side quests, Rumi brought the attention back to her issue. Okay, how does this help me get my voice back? She demanded. As I said, repeated Han, to treat the part, he gestured to Rumi, we must understand the whole. This time he gestured to all three girls, who, together made up the whole of Huntrix. They were too annoyed to notice. Groaning, Rumi said, that's great and all, but I thought we were just here for your tonics. Just give us the voice juice, demanded Mira. Han murmured inquisitively. I know just the tonics you need. In the waiting area, Rumi sat alone and annoyed. More celebrity photos covered the lobby wall. She glanced at them, then leaned forward. One of the photos was Healer Han with Huntrix? Is that us? She asked incredulously. The part of the photo with Han on it peeled off, a bad tape job. Rumi shook her head, feeling defeated. Just as Mira had suspected, Han was a bit of a fraud. Han appeared carrying a large box. Your tonics are ready. Rumi left the shop with the box and met her friends outside. Mira and Zoey began cheering. We got the tonics! Woo! We got the tonics! Zoey grinned and gave Rumi another hug, excited that their quest had been successful. Yay! Once your voice is fixed, we can get back to the important stuff, like the fans. Rumi returned her smile, grateful for her friends and hopeful that the medicinal drinks might work. Suddenly, they heard footsteps approaching. There were shadows of people about to turn the corner in the alleyway. Panicking that their fans had tracked them down, Mira and Zoey jumped behind Rumi and pulled her hood up over her head. Just be cool, look normal, Mira instructed as the girls hunched over and walked single file down the alley. Headed in their direction was a group of 4 boys who looked to be around their age. One boy, named Baby Saja, had a pink argyle sweater and wore a yellow hat over his aqua-colored hair. The next boy, Romance, had pink hair with bangs that framed his face in the shape of a heart. The third guy, Abby, wore a turquoise Hawaiian shirt covered with a bright pink hibiscus flowers that was fitted against his muscular torso. And the final boy, named Mystery, had floppy lavender hair that covered his eyes. Mira and Zoey poked their heads out from behind Rumi and gawked at them with open mouths. Rumi looked at her friends in disbelief. What was the deal with these boys? The guys all flipped their gorgeous hair in unison, causing Mira's and Zoey's eyes to transform into red hearts. These were the cutest boys ever. Abby stretched his arms back as he walked. A gust of wind blew his shirt upward, revealing 6-pack abs. Zoey's heart eyes transformed into ears of corn that looked just like abs. Then Abby stretched his arms overhead and a button popped off his shirt to reveal more of his sculpted torso. Zoey's face burned bright red, and she screamed as her corn eyes popped into popcorn. Mira and Zoey couldn't look away. They continued to gaze at the boys while eating from the popcorn spilling from Zoey's face. Rumi rolled her eyes, unimpressed by both the boys' and her friends' behavior. You guys are so gross. Ugh. Just as she was beginning to tell Mira and Zoey off, Rumi saw someone walk up from behind the group. Jinu. Her jaw dropped. He was the most handsome guy she had ever seen. Another gust of wind blew, and it knocked Rumi's hood off her head. Still, she couldn't keep her eyes off Jinu. As the boys walked past, Jinu bumped into Rumi's shoulder, knocking her off balance. She spun in slow motion, falling and sending the box of tonics flying through the air, maintaining eye contact with Jinu the entire time. She landed ungracefully with her tonics scattered all over the alleyway. Gazing down at her, Jinu gallantly extended his hand as if to help her up, but when she reached for it, he just turned and brushed off his shoulder where they had collided. Watch yourself, he scoffed. He and his pals glared down at her before continuing along the alley, leaving the girls to help Rumi to her feet. Shocked and embarrassed, Rumi retorted, Watch yourself! But the boys were gone. Rumi looked down to see all her tonics on the ground. Look at this mess, she exclaimed. She and her friends picked up the pouches and threw them back into the box. Yeah, they're not even that cute, lied Zoey. The girls began fake gagging at the thought of them. Ugh, ugh, ugh. I'm going to throw up, said Mira. At that moment, a bass beat began playing in the distance. Wait, said Rumi. What is that? Okay, friends, hopefully you really enjoyed this story. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.